Okay, we are live on YouTube. Hi guys, this is Dr. Nancy Lee. So you're live on my stream about today's talk. We're gonna do lots of mock interviews about product strategy and quick introduction about myself. I am Dr. Nancy Lee. I help people transition from worker bee to product manager and business leader. And I've helped over hundreds of product managers and getting their dream product manager job offer, including FAANG companies and also unicorn startup. Many of you guys I know already subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I know you already use lots of free resources to already land your dream job offer. And today, let's give you a little bit additional boost and give you lots of free training so that we will quickly land you a job offer as well. Okay, great. So let me see who else join us. Feel free to introduce yourself in the chat on YouTube Live, and where are you from, what's your name, and if you're interviewing with any companies, feel free to comment on the chat regarding the type of companies you have interviewed with. So let's see who is here with us. And one sec, let me go back to my screen. Awesome. Okay. All right. So as we are having people join us, let me quickly share my screen and talk about today's agenda. And if you hold on, let me see, share my deck. Awesome. Okay, great. So I assume you guys can see my screen. I don't see. Hold on. Let me make sure people joining us doing live mock interview can see us. Okay, cool. So awesome. So I see you guys here. So Barbara, you need to join the Zoom link. Yes, I see you here. Awesome. All right. So we see Barbara from Texas, excited to be here. And Yingling, your interview product strategy and lead, you're interviewing for product strategy lead at Google. Awesome. Awesome. Okay. Yeah. So then today's mock interview will be very relevant to you guys because we are focused on product strategy interviews. Awesome. Okay, so let's whoever join us, please continue to do short introduction of yourself in the chat. And we also have Barbara actually just joined us to do mock interview with us. Let me continue to do a quick introduction of today's agenda. So let me share my screen here. So we're here. Awesome. So today we talk about product strategy. Okay. So I also know lots of you guys right now is in the process preparing for your FAANG interviews, and even non-FAANG companies in recently, they start to pick up the same style of interview questions, and assuming you're also interviewing for those like big FAANG companies, and the questions are very, very similar. So today we're going to go through some kind of live mock interviews and show you guys how to best prepare. And something else I want to make sure everybody pay close attention is that whoever is having interviewed with your FAANG companies, and please make sure you start to download the 50 FAANG interview questions database, and you can directly you go to this website, drnancylee.com, 50 FAANG. So over there, you're able to see all the 50 interview questions, and those are real life interview questions that people will ask you in those FAANG interviews. Okay, so use those to prepare, and especially when you do mock interviews, you need to pay close attention regarding what kind of right framework to use, because especially for product strategy, the market entry type of interview questions and their future looking type of interview questions, and as also as different kind of estimation type of questions. So each one, the framework you use is very different. So you guys pay close attention when you go there to practice your mock interview for FAANG case studies. For anybody who joined us today, and another quick reminder, if you have your upcoming interviews, so you should join this How to Land Your Dream Product Manager Job Offer in 60 Days, where my free product masterclass where I teach you guys a profit framework and have helped hundreds of product managers landing their dream job offer. And actually very exciting to find out. Actually, like last month, we got 5 FAANG offers. I'm very, very excited. So everybody, please make sure you follow the same strategy to land your dream product manager job offer as well. So where you can register for this live masterclass is drnancylee.com/masterclass, which is I also put in right here in the link, highlight in yellow, drnancylee.com/masterclass. So today, we're going to teach you guys how to do product strategy interview, especially through this mock interview style. I also know some of you guys also request to join us for the behavioral interview. And if you have been selected by my team, you should already receive your Zoom link to join us. Okay. Another quick question is, some people always ask, hey, how do you get selected for the free coaching? So basically you need to submit a Google form. So the Google form is also in the description of my YouTube video right now. So in the description, you check it out. So there's a Google form where you can submit to do free mock interview with me. Okay. And then who get priorities are people who support the nonprofit. I support, and actually I'm a big believer in giving back. And actually every year we do one-on-one donation matches to the educational nonprofit I support. So if you support any of my nonprofit, feel free to let me know. So you would definitely get prioritized to get free coaching from me. And of course, whoever have YouTube subscribers, you get more likes and comments and shares, you will get prioritized as well. Okay, cool. All right. So when we get started, okay, quick inspiration is that I know everybody's preparing for your important PM transition, or trying to be a transition into PM, or someone who is already a PM trying to land your dream product manager job offer. So every week we love to celebrate our offers in the PM Accelerator program. Actually, this last week we got someone already received product operations manager offer from Uber, another product strategy offer from Near Protocols, which is one of the very popular, one of my favorite actually blockchain layer 1 protocol. So you guys should totally check it out. And another student actually landing another SaaS company offer within 6 weeks. So I want all of you guys to start to really work hard and using the right strategy, right framework to land your dream job offer as well. So every week we celebrate our offers. If anybody who joined us live on YouTube, feel free to comment in the chat regarding have you received any offers, or have you already like preparing for any of the upcoming interviews? Okay. Oh, so Eden asked this question, how to join Zoom? Are you selected by my team? So if you are selected by my team, you should already receive an email about the link to join Zoom. Okay. So make sure to contact my team, and if we have extra time, and when we do this, so if we have extra time, we can do another interview after this. So Eden, feel free to stay with us, and we can do yours towards the end if possible. Okay. Feel free to email me at nancy.drnancylee.com. Yeah, I'm going to send you the link, and also let my team know if I have extra time to do marketing with you. Okay, so let's do this. All right, so stop sharing right now. Barbara, are you here with us? You're on mute.
Hi, can you hear me very well?
Yes, I can. So Barbara is also one of my students in Product Manager Accelerator. Can you quickly introduce yourself? Then we can get started with our mock interview.
Sure, absolutely. I am Barbara Fadehi, and I am a senior PM at Bearforce. I joined Nancy's class about a month plus now, have learned tons. I actually took courses with Product School, but many of the, I would say, worksheets that they provided was not really helping me with what I needed for being a better or stronger PM. And I also had been trying to break into FAANG companies and startups for quite some time. So just by watching one of Nancy's videos on resume building, I was able to align my resume in a way that got me the offer that I have right now. And I wasn't even looking at that time. I had not taken a single course at that time. I just followed the instructions in her video, and a recruiter found me on LinkedIn, reached out, was interested. Next thing led to another. I got the offer that I had just by following her resume template. So imagine what could happen if you just take the class. So I'm excited to be here. I've already learned loads, and this will be a great opportunity to test out what I've learned so far.
Awesome. Welcome, Barbara, and thank you. Yeah, it's such a great pleasure to have you. And you have been landing many fan interviews so far. So let's make sure we land those fan offers. Okay, great, yes. Cool. All right. So the mock interview we are having today is assuming so you're going in the final round interview with either Google or Meta. They will ask you those kind of like product strategy interview questions. And also for the transparency, Barbara had never done any product strategy case with me before. Okay, so it's our first time, so which is also the same process how we coach our student how to really improve the answers. So I haven't really directly, this is the very first time doing this. So let's see. All right, cool. All right, so let's assume this mock interview, I'm gonna like guide you through the process and also pretending I am a interviewer. Okay, so let me bring up the interview question. One sec. Hold on. Let me just write down the interview questions here so everybody know this. So let me share my screen. Usually that's how we do it in the live stream. We write down the questions so people can see the questions together. Okay, so this is the questions we answered last week. So let me remove this. So this new question is, should Meta enter the education industry or not? All right, so this is a real interview question with Meta. All right, so let's do this. Barbara, let's answer this question. You have, let's say 45, or usually it's shorter than 45, 40 minutes or 30 minutes to answer this question. Should Meta enter the education industry or not? Okay, so let's get started. Feel free to open the case and let me know how do you think about what the answer should be.
Sure. So the very first thing based on what you had taught in module 8 is the Gucci framework. And I know you have a video out on YouTube, so folks can go watch that. But the very first thing is to define what the goals and the missions are for that company. So when we talk about Meta, Meta is a profound, really great company. Their vision is to bring the metaverse to life. And they really want to give people the power to build community and bring the world closer together. I also know, just based off of research, that Meta is going into the space for basically helping education, like bridging that gap for education and ensuring that there are other ways to learn in a way that goes beyond just what we are probably used to on a regular basis. So when I think about that, I think this would align with how Meta thinks about, different kinds of goals that would align. This would align, in my perspective, with their strategy. I would say just 3 things off the top of my head that I think would make sense. About 66% of the world has some level of education. And I'm privileged to know this because I come from a education background. So I do understand that not a lot of people have a lot of education at a higher level. About 90% of the world has education, primary education, but the higher you go, there aren't that many people who are educated. I also know that higher education currently is struggling to get students into schools. not just into schools, but into programs, right? Less and less students are being interested in actually pursuing a degree at all. And many schools, due to COVID, have opted into more of an online sort of rigor or study. So I think that's something that we need to take into consideration. COVID is real, it's happening. We're right in the midst of a pandemic, and it seems like it will come to an end soon, but it has changed our world profoundly going forward. And I feel that once COVID hit, pretty much most of those schools started going online almost instantaneously. And that's something that we want to take into consideration. So that's what I think about for goals and the mission. The
Awesome.
next Okay, so the next thing that I do want to probably go into would be the customer segmentation. And when I look at education as a whole, you have all of these different grade levels, but I'd like to segment it into elementary learning. And I would probably group the middle school with the elementary, because I know elementary is usually from 0 to like 5, but I would group middle school into that. And then I'll also like to look at the second batch would be more of the high school or secondary secondary school levels. You're not quite yet in college, but you're preparing to get into college. And then the last leg would be the higher education, which is, it could be just undergrad, but it also could include things like master's programs or other specialized programs that are available at the universities.
Yeah,
I
like this.
Okay, so my thought about those three segments, when I look at the traditional education, because I do feel that there are serious issues right now in traditional education, and each one of those levels are impacted differently and have different kinds of issues. So they would have different kinds of unmet needs, let me say like that. And so
can you tell me more regarding different kind of unmet needs in those different segments?
Sure. So when I look at the unmet needs from a higher education level, those kinds of students, the cost for higher education is too much. And that's the primary reason we see a lot of students not want to go to college. The other major critical issue is many students are not used to learning in that style or in that way of learning. They've done it for the past however many years of their younger education life because their parents kind of said so, right? But once they hit graduation from high school, they want the opportunity to explore things differently. And traditional higher ed education just doesn't allow that flexibility. It does in some way, but it's still limited, especially when things in the past was always in person, right? Online classes were kind of more so like an afterthought. But with COVID, that has made the shift to online classes more possible. But then you see that there is still a disconnect between the student and the professor. So a lot of times with online classes, people are taking classes, but they're not really paying attention. They have other people doing their assignments for them. I mean, they're not really gaining anything, any of those skills to learn and to move forward with in life. So I think that is something that we need to help bridge the gap on. And that's probably something we probably should focus the most on, because I think that's probably the most impactful. I believe it's something about like maybe 20-something% of the fees that higher ed institutions collect from tuition will decrease by 2025. So this is something that we can have a huge impact in right now.
Okay, so you mentioned about the unmet needs for higher ed. Do you have any unmet needs for other segmentations?
Yes, absolutely. So when we talk about high school is kind of weird because everyone is hitting puberty and they're getting older. Girls are boy crazy, boys are girl crazy. I mean, you can go different ways by this, but really high school is a place where you're laying a good foundation for your college experience in terms of education and growth. And a lot of times when you look at inner city schools, there's really not that technology available unless you go to like a private school or you're going to a public school in a more affluent kind of area. So there could be there's definitely an opportunity there. I think students want to learn. I think many people want to learn, but sometimes the rigor and the style in which things are taught makes it difficult for people to assimilate that learning as quickly as possible. I also think that during that high school phase, there's a lot of video gaming going on, right? So a lot of people are very just stimulated differently, let me say it that way. And maybe we can probably, I should hold off on that because I was already moving into solution mindset. But yeah, really the issue is people are stimulated differently. And when we think about those students, they also want to learn, they want to put their best foot forward, but sometimes they don't know how. I feel like it's difficult sometimes for students to really be able to learn in that kind of environment. When there's a lot of things going on, there's a lot of distractions.
Yeah, in my summary, sounds like the unmet needs for high schoolers are that there's so much distractions and the body also changes. So it's very hard to laser focus on learning. So they need to find some better way to learn. And also you mentioned public school and private schools are also different because the different resources that lacking between different schools. Very good. Okay, so tell me more about the younger segment, elementary and middle school?
So the younger segment, from my perspective, when we talk about their learning, it just depends on the type of child, right? So you've got kids that may be in special needs groups. You've got kids that special needs in terms of like maybe they have ADHD or Down syndrome or some other kind of thing. And we need to cater for those kids differently. But at the same time, you've got regular kids who are just boys, right? Boys are boys, girls are girls. And from their perspective, learning is fun, right? Learning is fun. I've got kids, I've got 2 boys and a little baby girl. They are 6 and under. And if I tell my son he's got to do, for example, Kumon, he's not excited. He doesn't want to write and just add and subtract and spell his words. He's bored. He wants things that will keep him very engaged and very focused. And he's incredibly smart, but I have to think about creative ways for him to learn because the traditional way just doesn't cut it for him. And even between my 2 boys, they're quite different. One's more outgoing, another one is more quiet. And I feel that they both learn very differently, but it still requires a lot of creative stimulation. And also it requires hands-on experiences with them.
Yeah, true. All right. So you talk about all the unmet needs. Now let's continue to think about should Meta enter this education industry or not. So keep going. How would you think about this case, given we know the unmet needs now?
Yep. So we've talked about goals. We've talked about unmet needs. We've also talked about customer segmentation. And the next thing I want to focus on would be competition, because Meta coming into the education space is not going to look like a higher ed institution, right? I'm thinking about what kind of difference they would bring to the market space. So when I look at that, I start to look at what kinds of companies would they be going against. So you think about things like Microsoft, huge in the Xbox business. And that's something that pretty much everyone around me that I know of are playing video games has an Xbox. And they also have talked about going into this metaverse learning sort of space, wanting to bring that 3D dimension of learning to the education space. Now, at what level, I don't know yet, but that is something that is of interest to them. Another video gaming platform called Roblox, I'm probably saying that wrong, but Roblox. Yes. They are also a huge video gaming platform and are also interested in entering the digital learning online experience. And those will be, I believe, the huge competition that Meta would be going up against. When you look at Microsoft, Microsoft is a long-standing company, the second largest and also the second most revenue generating company in the world. So they have a very profound, strong name that is widely accepted and also trusted. So having someone like that come into the game, it really changes things for Meta. And I feel like Meta is going to have to differentiate themselves from that space or in that space and kind of show how they can be unique from some of these other gaming platforms.
Let me ask you this question. When you talk about competition of Meta entering the education space, you mentioned lots of them are gaming companies. So because they are kind of engaging with the audience, so they have their unique advantage. But it's the education industry. Do you think any other competitors we need to be aware of?
Sure. Outside of like video gaming platforms, we still have to be aware of things like regular traditional school. I think it's going to be important that we don't lose sight of that. There are a lot of schools struggling, and it's going to be hard for them to stay open if they don't do something different. And you still have these online certificate programs and ways of studies that are also becoming very, very popular. And I would say almost taken away from regular traditional education. So people are leaving high school to do a certificate. People are leaving college to do a certificate. And you've got to think about those things as well. There may be some other type of competition, and I'm drawing the blank. But I mean, just thinking about other ways of learning, you know, it may not be regular traditional learning like we have it today. There are things like culinary classes or courses and other training type of ways of learning. I forgot what they're called, but I remember in like high school, for example, if you didn't do your regular science, English, math type of courses, you had these other type of courses like cooking and singing, those types of things, those types of trainings, those type of learnings, those kinds of teachers and programs still exist. And that's another side of the market.
I see. Let's talk about the outside market. You actually lead to it. What do you think of the content creators in the space, such as YouTube? Do you think YouTube could be a potential competitor of Meta in the education space? Or they kind of related? So tell me more.
Absolutely. I had Google down as my number 3. I didn't even get to that yet, but but definitely Google, yes, but I want to narrow in on YouTube just because of the sheer amount of knowledge that is on there. And I do feel that a company like Google or Alphabet could turn on a dime and make some of these things happen, just like Facebook, just like Microsoft and some of these other companies. So yes, they will be a huge competitor in this space. Sure, learning is different, but it's still very creative and very, very engaging, right? So I find myself, when I'm curious about something, I just go to YouTube and I go learn.
That's how you discover my channel.
I kid you not. And I will tell you this, you have no idea. So before I got married, I barely knew how to cook, barely, which in my culture is really not a good thing, but I barely knew how to cook. My husband still married me, loved him. Okay, but fun story. I was on YouTube almost every day learning how to cook from this girl in Nigeria, and she cooked some of the most amazing dishes. I never tasted her food, right? But she had everything on YouTube and I just followed it. And now, Nancy, you can't even touch me when it comes to cooking. Like it's that good. but that's just another way of learning that made it very fun and engaging for me. And I didn't have my mom yelling down my back to go learn how to cook. I just watched YouTube channels and I learned how to cook. So yeah, that would definitely be another competitor in this space.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when you think about those competitors, I want to link a little bit more towards the unmet needs. So sounds like currently the competitors are mainly towards people who want to make things more engaging. Sounds like it's more for the high schooler or younger kids, right? Can you, and also someone who provide content such as existing traditional educator and also YouTube, more like newer newbies, like myself, a YouTuber, also educator, see myself an educator. But you also mentioned something else, which is cost, right? So one of the pain point was cost. Do you think currently is there any like competition out there who is helping university drive down the cost, or is like blue ocean, nobody else is working on this new issues?
Well, let me think about that for a second. So, and while I'm thinking about that, please restate the question.
So my question is, you for unmet needs, right? You touched a lot on the other two unmet needs, but you didn't get time to talk about the first unmet needs to talk about for the university segment. They said it's too expensive, right? So in this, for that direction, do you think any existing competitors Meta should be aware of? Or maybe Meta shouldn't enter the high school, the university segment because it's just expensive. Nobody else can make it happen anyway. They make it cheaper anyway. What do you think?
No, I actually believe that there is plenty of opportunity to make education much more affordable and available. I mean, even think about regulation, right? So the government's already been talking about slashing student loans and finding ways to give back to students who have high student loans. And I think that's something we should consider in our analysis. There's definitely an opportunity for us to make things affordable. Even from an educational perspective, I do remember saying earlier that there are these certificate programs that are coming out and are literally taken away from regular traditional learning. And I think that's something that is very, very important. That's really changing the game for higher ed institutions. People are learning in a different way, hands down. And I think it's going to be important for Meta to embrace that, understand that, and find a way to make learning more engaging for people and make it more practical, right? Because the reason why we do these certifications is because they are directly linked to the kind of work that we are looking to get. So if there's a way Meta can fill that need, then we're in business. But yes, from a financial perspective, education at the higher ed institution level is just way too costly. For some universities, there are a few that are completely very reasonable. I'll shout out one, Missouri State University, incredibly affordable, but then again is in the middle of nowhere. Right? A lot of these higher ed institutions are charging so much because of maybe they're a huge basketball school or they're a huge football school, and you're paying really for the experience. You're not really paying for your education. So if we really just focus on the education in and of itself, is it really that expensive? I doubt not. I doubt it.
Okay, cool. Yeah, now we explore different kind of competitors. Can you spend more time talking about the Gucci Power Framework, the last part, the I, integrated ecosystem, how it's related to Meta?
Okay. From a Meta perspective, again, just to recap on what the mission is to give people the power to build community and bring the world closer together. And when I just think about that and their vision about bringing the metaverse to life, think about their biggest platform, Facebook. Almost everybody and their mom is or has been or will be on Facebook at some point in time in their life. And I think that this is something that is inevitable. Facebook by default is helping people come together and share memories and connect with one another, but also learn from one another. I mean, there are several different groups on Facebook that people can join to build each other up, encourage one another, to learn different crafts, to attend different seminars and be part of different forums where they can learn from one another and grow or teach. And so you have to think about how Facebook is structured and how that plays into the ecosystem for Meta as a whole. So having this kind of a platform be part of the Meta group of, let's say, companies, I think it's quite brilliant. Yes, I know Meta's had a few issues in the news light of recent, and it's not anything to ring home about, but just knowing what they've done with Facebook, I think there's some learnings there to draw from and make that part of what they're trying to do here with the education space. So I think this is something that will play to their strengths, right? They don't have to be another university, right? Off brick and mortar university. Creating some sort of an online platform and allowing people to experience different types of learning in a different, very, very innovative way. I think that's amazing. Knowing that you don't even have to be there in person, seeing a teacher face to face, but you all can engage and collaborate in a very just different way. I think that is what I'm excited about. I think there's so much possibility in that arena that is just hasn't been it hasn't been tapped, and I think that's something that they should explore.
Can you elaborate what do you mean by learning in a different way?
So definitely when you're looking at from like a digital perspective, right? You're online, but there are different ways of taking in that information. Maybe you are doing some sort of a virtual reality and learning class, and you've put on like your 3D glasses and you're sitting right there and you're watching the screen and you're feeling like you could touch a heart because you're learning about something in biology. I don't know, I'm totally making this up, but just thinking about that kind of possibility and knowing that maybe you feel like you're touching something, but you're not, and you can point to the different pipes or valves in your heart. I just think that that is mind-blowing. And this also feeds back into one of the unmet needs. Think about kids who are more visual when it comes to learning, right? I'm like that. I don't really care for pen and paper, right? But if I could see something, I could see that picture and it's moving and I'm seeing different angles, that helps me retain that information better. And I think that that's probably another way that they could look at this.
Very cool. Okay. Is this so what's your final conclusion? Is this a summary?
Tell me yes, that was a summary to say, heck yes, get in there. But I do feel that they have definitely the infrastructure, the financial resource to be able to make learning more affordable, but also more engaging for their users. And I believe that, sure, this will increase their revenue. It will allow them to reach more people that probably would never open Facebook, right? Not everyone's going to use Facebook, but there are going to be people who want to learn and see learning in a different way and can also partake in that. So yes, my answer is yes, it's my vote, yes.
Yes. Okay, great. Yes, yes, yes. So very good performance. Okay, Barbara. So let me provide you some feedback. At the same time, I think we might have room for one more person to do quick mock interview. So if you already received link from my team and you can get it. All right. So, and hold on, let me see. All right, so anyone else, you received the Zoom link from my team, and we can spend the last like a few minutes with you guys, but after we spend time with Barbara to provide feedback. I think, let me see cool. All right, so let's do this. And let me provide feedback to Barbara right now. Okay, great. So this is gonna happen. That's how we provide feedback. Best, let's do this. Let's tell you regarding what I believe you did very, very well. I think you have very strong customer empathy. You really know the education space well. You also, it's not just knowing well, the way you tell stories shows lots of like knowledge and empathy regarding what's going on in the space, and lots of answers are very creative. For example, towards the end, you said, hey, yeah, like, hell yeah, Meta needs to enter, and you can increase the usage of Facebook. And those are very, very creative ideas and how it's relevant to the topic. I also like how you segment the customers. So based on different like grades, and I do like the way we segment, because those grades, the users in those grades are very, very different. And your unmet needs also listed very, very well, very straightforward, very clean, and I like it. Now let's talk about room for improvement, right? So this is assuming interview with like all the FAANG companies and Meta and Google. When you open this, I like you talk about the goal and the mission of the company, which is really good. But when you talk about the different kind of like competitions, different things, I want you to map them into different kind of segment, because you are a little bit all over the place, right? So, and then I post you, do you think of this? Oh yeah, do you think of this? Oh yeah, right? So it's easier when you answer those competition, you map them already. You already talk about different segment, different unmet needs, right? You can say, okay, so in competition, it really depends on what segment talk about. Talk about education, the competition, existing competitions, people who providing practical knowledge, those certification schools. Now for like a middle tier, which is like a high schoolers, and there's lots of people playing Xbox or Roblox. I hope I pronounced the company very well. Just did a free commercial of the company, ROBLOX, the company, like something like that, right? So you need to map them into different segments, so it's easier for you to think about it. All right, and towards the end, when you talk about the integrated ecosystem where Meta can play into the whole system, your answer was also a little bit scattered. I want to think about it regarding the value chain, right? So for education, there are like content providers and teachers. There's also student who is learning. There's also people who in the middle who has a platform, right? So they don't do anything that the technology platform, or may not be technology, any kind of platform in the middle who facilitates the process, right? And now that's the entire value chain. What's in the value chain, what's missing is on the top. So Meta is, let's say, content. So Meta probably already has content, because there's lots of Facebook videos, existing Facebook videos, and also already have and also talk about the learners. It's a lot, almost everybody has Facebook, so potential learners also there, right? Mm-hmm. So you can talk, and technology, different things, and also VR technology is going to the platform. They can facilitate those kind of learnings. Mm-hmm. So when you answer those kind of questions regarding integrated ecosystem, talk about the entire value chain instead of jumping around. Because whenever I poke you, you start thinking, oh yeah, that's exactly what's great, right? So, but your answer wasn't structured if I don't poke you.
Right.
Okay, so you have those ideas, but so make sure you follow the framework we cover in module 8, where we teach you how to think about all the example framework. But I think it's very good, very good. I like how confident you are talking about the education industry, especially all the empathy you had. It's pretty good. Congratulations, very good.
Thank you.
Yes, you did very well. Especially this is the very first.
I know. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Okay, great, cool. All right, so let me see, we have few minutes left. All right, so for anybody who have any questions about product strategy interview, feel free to put your comment directly in the chat of YouTube Live. And for people who already request join, yeah, let me, Eating, I can send you the Zoom link. I can answer one quick question from you. One sec. Okay, so another thing is, Barbara, do you have any advice regarding how to land a PM job offer? Because you already land one just by following our free template. So do you have any other advice for other people to land a PM job offer? And also your background, right? Maybe you could tell us your background first. So yeah, maybe you can tell us the background, how any other advice you want to give people with similar background to you.
Sure. So I came from pretty much a predominantly healthcare background. Most of my experience at work has all been in a healthcare company. It was really an EHR platform. We were building for an EHR platform. And I had been working on the reporting and analytics side, building business intelligence platform, let me say it like that. And also doing more like technology data syncing between different platforms that we were connecting with. So the sharing of patient data. And that's how I got into product management. I don't have like a structured product management experience, but I do have lots of experience writing requirements. I was a business analyst. I did things like that. So I'm very strong in that area. And the more I did that, the more I started to learn a bit more about product management, took some product school courses, and I did enjoy it. And I got a PM role just by studying. So I feel like if you're a PM, you have to first, number one, you've got to love studying and learning, right? Because there are so many products in the world, and there are new ones coming up each day. Just think about the sheer number of startups starting every single year and number of companies that go IPO is because they have a new product, a new service that's coming up that they need a PM for. So every time you see a new company, just know they need PMs, or there are PMs that got them to where they are. Now, in getting into a product manager role, I had to learn a lot about different frameworks that Nancy teaches in these module courses. And if you are green, brand new, you don't know anything about product management, yes, take it. But also, if you are experienced as a product manager and you are not sure about what it is that you think product management looks like in the product management industry, this is also something that I will highly recommend. I also believe that it depends on what kind of industry you're coming from. So a lot of times in the healthcare space, product management looks very, very different. Also in the financial accounting space, product management also looks vastly different from if you were going into a big tech kind of company. So I would say you need to study, you need to be able to communicate both in writing and in speaking, and you need to be confident. So I was kind of shaky on my experience. I took this course. This is just me studying an hour, couple of hours each week with Nancy's materials, attending office hours, doing everything she's taught you step by step. Right? Don't try to deviate and be a hero. Do it step by step. It's proven, it's tried. Don't just do it step by step, and you'll definitely see results. But honestly, this has been one of the biggest blessings for me. So thank you, Nancy. Thank you. I do appreciate it.
Thank you, Barbara. By the way, you sound very confident when you do mock interview. You already significantly.
It's working. It's working. Thank you.
Cool. All right. Thank you for joining us, Barbara. So let's bring up someone else. Yeah, Barbara, you can either stay on Zoom or you can just drop, totally up to you. So let's, Eating, are you on? Can you turn on your camera?
Hey.
Okay, cool. All right. So tell me about yourself. You said you have an interview coming up with Google?
Sure, yeah. So I got a reach out from Google Recruiter month ago regarding on this product strategy lead role. Basically, I was really surprised because my background is kind of like really nothing to do with the product like design or that kind of stuff. I came from a marketing agency background with a lot of like account management, like project management, but also I've been working on a lot of like the campaign analysis part because originally my background is like a data analyst. So that's something at this point I'm kind of nervous because I've been following your channel a while, trying to learning how to mock up, based on those strategies, but I'm also new to this, like area, like what is like a product strategy basically means. Because from my understanding, I think my like research skills, analysis skills from those past background, or like something about the product buildings, all those could be a good fit for this role. But I also kind of get lost about what basically what the interview like looking for for when they're trying to recruit these people. So yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, so congratulations, by the way, you're having a Google interview and it's a product strategy lead position. Are you going to manage others?
No, I believe this team is kind of unique. So basically the head of the like manager will be leading this group of lead to improve those existing Google products and be the person who like educating, coaching people from like internal like team to have those account strategies, like a salesperson to understand, what's the improvements based on those like current products. So yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. So now let's do this. First of all, let me give an overview regarding what is product strategy. And okay, also typical mistake when people prepare for product strategy interview, for sure. I know it. And especially come from marketing background because you have bias when you go into interview because you have real PM experience, you probably answer questions assuming you're doing marketing campaign. So which is very different. Okay. So now what does product strategy do is come from three aspects. Product strategy mainly look into either the GTM strategy, the high level. Okay, so for example, which is the same thing what we're doing. Should Google launch ABCD kind of product? So those goes into the strategy and they're gonna do lots of market research to go into this, how many people, how much money we can make. That's number one part of the product strategy. So number two part of strategy where they go in is, so they're likely going to work with the existing product team. Really think about specifically when you like design this product, who do you work with? Like what kind of competitors are there in the market? What is the value proposition compared with other people? So they're more hands-on regarding how to really position this kind of product. And I think that's very relevant to your marketing background because marketing, you need to have value proposition of the product. So that's pretty actually related. Okay. And now the third type of product strategy, what they have is, we also see people actually designing specific GTM strategy. So GTM strategy, sometimes they put into the product management aspect, sometimes they put into the GTM team, sometimes put in the product strategy. Maybe all three of those are working on those together. Now, when you talk about the specific GTM strategy, it's like, okay, so do we enter I moved to Miami. Okay, so do we enter Miami first when we want to launch like a new version of Uber Eats, right? So they are going to be very specific. So do you do national level launch? You do specific versions, different launches. So those kind of strategies really laying within the strategy team. And it's also pretty likely they're going to do like a revenue projection, and sometimes also involved with part of the strategy team. So depends on your future job, but you will probably going to be doing all of those stuff. But market research is very very basic, very required, like typical requirement. And all the GTM strategy you need to understand, like a market entry strategy, you need to understand those as well. Now let's talk about the typical mistakes. Typical mistake is that Very sad. Lots of people use the consulting framework to answer product strategy questions. I'm sorry, it's wrong. Consultant cannot become product managers. I have many consultants in my program, PM accelerator, when trying to become product managers. If they can become product managers, they would already become product managers. They won't be learning like PM program from me. Okay, so don't use the existing consultant framework. When we talk about like this difference between strategic consulting and product strategy, is that product strategy, you're working closely with the product team. You laser focus on who are the customers, customer segmentation, value proposition for the customers. You go really deep to understand different versions, different layers of customers and out there. So that's the biggest difference. And also most people using those kind of like basically wrong mistakes out there. So they probably, oh, let's use Porter's 5 forces, whatever, is all wrong. Just, yes, you can use it, but really missing the user side of product.
Okay.
Okay, so I would encourage you to really learn more about the product management, assuming you know all the like marketing side of GTM part. Also assume that you know how to do market research, customer research, right? I assume, because come from a marketing background, then you just need to really understand the details of product management, and you need a combination of everything.
Cool. Yeah, that's super useful. Yeah, thank you for that.
Yeah, no problem. We have lots of free training. So let me show you guys a free training, and you guys should take a look on my YouTube channel. And one sec, hold on. I'm using the wrong link. Hold on, where's my YouTube? Right here, one sec. Okay. I may share you. Where's my screen? Okay, I am sharing my screen right now. When you go to youtube.com and you go to my channel and you go down here, this is our YouTube live. So where is our product strategy training? One sec. I think where's my Gucci framework? Hold on, where's my Gucci? Oh, this one. Okay, I like this. Okay, so when you answer product strategy interview questions, it's all here. The Gucci framework I invented help you guys to really think about 5 different things to design the product strategy. Again, it's not management consulting strategy, it's a product strategy that's very specific, unique to the type of product you're going to looking at. Okay, so you should study this free training, and good luck with your upcoming Google interview.
Cool. Yeah, thank you so much for this.
No problem. Okay, cool. All right. So let's see who else has questions on YouTube Live. Where is my YouTube Live? One sec. Cool. Okay. Oh, I forgot. So one more resources for you guys. You guys can join those free groups. So we have those free groups, the WeChat group and our LinkedIn group to find your mock interview partners. Feel free to take a screenshot right now and scan the barcode and join those groups later on. Okay, so the more cases, the more live cases you do, the better, and actually the easier for you to land your dream PM job offer. Okay, so feel free to join those groups and identify your mock interview partners and using the right framework I shared with you guys. So let me see, any other questions? Let me go here. Right. All right. So feel free to put your questions in the live chat. If any other questions about product strategy or product management interview in general, feel free to put in the chat. Then we can quickly answer your questions before we close today's session and at the same time. Okay, so if you guys find today's session useful, please make sure you share and like this video, and at the same time you can directly, let's put emoji, something very funny. So please put the thumb up emoji in the chat. So actually one of the YouTube algorithm really loves the thumb up emoji. Okay, so let's do the thumb up emoji in the chat, which I couldn't find it. Hold on, let me find it. Where is the thumb up emoji? Damn it, somehow couldn't find it. So anyway, any cool emoji you can put in the chat. So put it in, any cool emoji you can put in the chat. If you find the free coaching useful, put a sum up emoji in the chat. So I know this is relevant to you guys. Very cool. Okay, great. So another thing is, quick reminder for anybody who want to do mock interview with me. Here is how you submit the request. Let me show you here. Share screen. Okay. All right. So this is what gonna look like, and this is our okay, mock interview here. So in the description of this YouTube channel, so you can directly find this Google form to submit your request to do mock interview with me. And at the same time, who gets selected, or people either support a nonprofit or who has most likes, share, and comment. And now I also wish all of you guys good luck with your upcoming interviews. And of course, make sure to check out those free download for 50 FAANG interview questions database. If you are determined to become a product manager and land your dream PM job offer, please make sure you directly go to this website, drnancylei.com/masterclass, register for our upcoming live masterclass where I teach you how to land your dream product manager job offer within 60 days. Okay, cool. All right. Now let me go back here. All right, so there's a question here. Okay. Jedi? Is the name Jedi or Jedi? Let me answer the question very quickly, which is about Amazon interview question. Yeah, put sum up emoji. If you guys can find it, please post it. I couldn't find it. Can you find the sum up emoji in the emoji chat? I don't have it. I couldn't find it either. Okay, so let me answer this question very quickly for Amazon interview question. And then make it bigger. For Amazon, does every leadership principle answer had to have a metric in the result? STAR framework. Okay, so step one, we don't use STAR framework, and I believe the STAR framework doesn't lead to a FAANG offer. So I invented a new framework called Grail framework. We also call it Dr. Nancy Holy Grail framework, so easier to remember. Actually, this weekend we'll teach our students in the PM Accelerator how to use Grail framework to answer those Amazon leadership principle questions. And actually we get so many Amazon offers every month. So this is proven to be working. And the reason you guys didn't get the right offer from Amazon was because you use the right framework. I don't believe that STAR framework is the right framework, okay, for you guys. And now let's answer this question regarding, do you need to have a metric in the result all the time? And we don't call the metric, we call the impact. Okay, so I suggest everybody need to lead to a certain kind of impact towards the end of your answer, which where we teach the Grail framework. So Grail framework, the second to the last step is about the I part, which is the impact. So when you talk about impact, if you do not have the number to show the revenue number or percentage growth, those kind of number, you can use other way to show impact. Could be like the organizational improvement, and that you receive any kind of award, those also qualify to become any kind of impact. So therefore, I wouldn't call the metric towards the end, but people need to have certain type of impact. Okay. Jedi, and good luck with your upcoming interview with Amazon. Let me see. Very cool. All right, nice. Looks like we don't have any other questions. Awesome. If we don't have any other questions, so make sure you put any kind of emoji you can find in the chat and put in the chat. And also we're gonna see you guys next week when we do the YouTube live again. So good luck with everybody upcoming interview and keep me posted regarding any offers you have received. Okay, cool. All right. So let people share about the channel. Good luck with everybody's upcoming interview. Hope all of you guys are getting a FAANG offer. Keep me posted. Okay, cool. All right. Have a good day. See you guys. Bye.